All guests do not state or reflect those of the company, its management, sponsors, or any entities they represent.
Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off a steal. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis. And breaking scoreboard, Simone of the Olympics. Defense and big business, the Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch. Screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the 3 in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids. Price and Doherty, Bill in the Indian years. This who it is. Your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer.
Yo, DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Catch us on IG at InDaStreetzSportz or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streamings, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the InDaStreetzSportz channel. Like, subscribe, share, follow. Once you get in there, you can see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly, DeeTrynt. Like, subscribe, share, follow. All right, we got the website, InDaStreetzSportz.com. If you want us to highlight, spotlight anybody in the sports world, email us at InDaStreetzSportz@gmail.com or DeeTrynt@gmail.com. It is a pleasure to rock with you all here on this Monday evening. I know, like the weather, today, some of us are feeling very, very gloomy. And it's understandable, right? All right. Yesterday should have been a shoe-in game, right? We all figured, hey, the Browns gonna come out and they gonna do their thing, okay? All the, what being say, forget the speculation, talk over. Dig this. And then, I don't know. Well, yes, I do. Because I watched the game a couple times. So we going to get into who did or didn't show up for the game yesterday. Leading up to this game, going by the first 3 weeks of the season, it seemed like the sky is falling, right? Like, oh, the Browns are just doing so terrible. And I was saying that they just need to get in sync, right? They just need to play as a unit, get on the same page, work out the kinks, and, everything will be everything, right? So, what happened? All right. Let's go to the tail of the tape, post game with tail of the tape, right? The Browns had a total of 241 yards. The Raiders had a total of 268 yards. The Browns had 149 passing yards as a team. The Raiders had 116. The Browns had 92 rushing yards as a team. The Raiders had 152. The Browns averaged 4.2 yards a play. The Raiders averaged 4.9 yards a play. The Browns had 16 first downs to the Raiders 17. The Browns converted 3 out of 10 third down conversions. The Raiders were 4 of 12. The Browns went 0-1 on fourth down. The Raiders did not attempt a fourth down. The Browns ran 57 plays. Raiders ran 55. The Browns allowed 3 sacks. The Raiders allowed 2. The Browns punted 5 times. The Raiders punted 4. The Browns had 5 penalties for 38 yards, and the Raiders had 6 penalties for 49 yards. The Raiders lost 1 fumble. The Browns threw 1 interception. The Browns had 30 minutes and 42 seconds time of possession of offense having control of the ball. The Raiders had 29 minutes and 18 seconds. Hearing those numbers, you're wondering what happened. Well, let's check out the Raiders first. DeeTrynt Game Changer Sports Talk. We just going over the stats from the game yesterday. Cleveland Browns traveled to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. And this is just some of the numbers. Before we even get to the score, we're just talking the numbers. Gardner Minshew II had 14 completions out of 24 attempts for 130 yards. Is Anthony Madison? Alexander Madison, former Viking, had 5 carries for 60 yards, averaged 12 yards a carry. Zamir White, running back for the Raiders, had 17 carries for 50 yards, averaged 2.9 yards a carry. Between those two running backs, the Raiders ran the ball 22 times for 110 yards. That's about 5 yards a carry. DJ Turner had 1 run for 18 yards and a touchdown. Bowers had 1 run for 12 yards. McAllister had 2 runs for 11 yards. Tucker had 1 run for 3 yards. Gardner Minshew had 2 runs for -2 yards. So they ran the ball 26, 28, 29 times. They ended up with 140, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. They did not have a touchdown in the air. Jacoby Myers had 5 receptions for 49 yards. Trey Tucker had 5 receptions for 41 yards. Harrison Bryant had 2 catches for 21 yards. Brent Bowers, I don't think his name is Brent. My bad if it's not. But Bowers had 2 catches for 19 yards. Okay. Minshew completed 14 passes. And the score was Raiders 20, Browns 16. Now, I started with the Raiders because there is so much to unpack when we get to the Browns. And what's funny about it being so much to unpack, it's all self-inflicted wounds. So, I think that's a great starting point, right? That the fact that the Browns are hindered by self-inflicting wounds. Now, let's go to Brown stats, right? All right. Deshaun Watson was 24 completions for 32 attempts for 176 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Jerome Ford had 10 carries for 58 yards. Deshaun Watson had 8 carries for 32 yards. Donta Foreman had 4 carries for 2 yards. Jerry Jeudy had 6 receptions for 72 yards. Amari Cooper had 4 receptions for 35 yards. Jerome Ford had 7 receptions for 27 yards. Whitehart had 3 receptions for 13 yards and a touchdown. Elijah Moore had 1 catch for 11 yards. Jordan Akins had 1 catch for 10 yards. Donta Foreman had 1 catch for 5 yards. And James Prochet had 1 catch for 3 yards. How the game started, right? This seems to be a reoccurring thing, right? And it's been a reoccurring thing for Kevin Stefanski's whole tenure so far. Him and Andrew Berry, right? Browns can start fast. They can take advantage of opportunities, get up on the scoreboard. It's the maintaining of the lead that becomes a problem. And in this game, undoubtedly, Deshaun Watson was not at fault. He was not at fault. He wasn't even remotely at fault. He had 24 completions out of 32 attempts. He was a victim of what? Three drops. I give one pass he threw into the ground, which was a smart pass, because it would have been a pick six had he tried to throw it to that receiver. Another pass went out of bounds per se, but it wasn't necessarily an off throw, right? It was just kind of one of those chance throws. So you don't knock him for that, right? So you got 24 for 30, and then you got the 3 drops, which probably would have made him 27 for 30, which is crazy, right? 27 for 30, you would think that is a phenomenal performance. 24 for 32 is a phenomenal performance. That's 75% completions. That's incredible. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay? The one touchdown they got early in the drive. So look, let me give y'all a summary, all right? Browns come out, they get the ball first, and they drive 15 plays for a score. Deshaun Watson goes 9 for 9 on the drive. He ain't missed. He done ran for a couple firsts. He done threw some guys open. He had one throw. Elijah Moore's only catch was a beautiful throw and catch. Threw in anticipation, threw to the spot, in between 3 defenders. Elijah Moore goes, sacrifices his body, gets the ball, doesn't get hit. Gets touched down, but really doesn't get hit. Lay out for a beautiful catch. You're thinking to yourself, oh, the Brown, oh, it's going. Defense gets a stop. Browns come down, kick a field goal. Now, by right, they should have scored a touchdown on this drive, but you wasn't mad about the field goal. What a lot of people was mad at was Kevin Stefanski doing this fake hike the ball to draw the team off sides, okay? Understand that this play and this routine is just as much for the offense being disciplined and practicing discipline as much as it is for the opposing defense to be encouraged to jump off sides. Okay? There was nothing wrong with Kevin Stefanski trying to draw them off sides to get a free play. There was nothing wrong with him letting it run down and take time out. There was something wrong, though, with the entire Browns offense not selling the fact that they wanted to run a play. That is the problem with the play. It isn't Stefanski calling the play. It's the way the team executes the play. You're not running to the line acting like you're about ready to hike the ball. There's no feel or vibe from the offense at all that y'all want to run this play. None. Now, I will give people credit if they say, hey, why don't you just tell them that from the gate? So that way they can just line up and do it, and then it isn't such a thing. Right? But, you know, these are professionals, right? These guys should be able to do it and handle it and whatever. So, on top of that, we know Hopkins missed a field goal last week. And this was a good, calm opportunity to get some confidence back into your kicker. Okay? So that's what he does. He comes out, he nails the 56-yarder, and here we go. Browns is off, all right? Up 10-0. going into the second quarter. All right. Now, this is when the BS really starts. Jim Schwartz, what is going on with you, bro? What is going on with you, bro? My fault, y'all. Hold on. Bro, this is the second week in a row. Now, mind you, you went through this last year. For like the first like 4 or 5 games, you went through this, right? Trying to figure out who you was gonna play, who you wasn't gonna play, wooty wooty wild blase skip, right? And I understand that. I feel that. You ever thought Matthew Mayo? Oh, I'm seeing comments. You ever thought we're like 2 losses away from entering rebuild talk? No, Matthew, I don't. I think the rebuild sentiments, the this is failing sentiments is just Browns fans so used to failure that they're not open to the possibility of something emerging, something evolving and being reborn. We have too much talent on the team. It's all about utilization. We don't need to rebuild. We did that already. Miles isn't 30. Chubb isn't 30. Ward isn't 30. Deshaun isn't 30. Only Amari Cooper is 30. Judy isn't 30. Newsom isn't 30. JOK isn't 30. Dalvin Tomlinson might be 30. Okay, Za'Darius is 30. Grandel Pitt's not 30. So when you're talking rebuild, why would you talk rebuild when you have a whole bunch of 27, 25, 24-year-olds on your team? That doesn't make sense. It's about utilization. I think Browns fans need to understand that we don't need to be like every other team in the league. We just need to be like us and whatever works for us. Also, Browns fan base and Browns media needs to understand that nothing is ever perfect. You work through the kinks. When people say the Browns don't have a formulated identity yet, I agree with that. But you don't just get an identity overnight. People can say, oh, they've had years to figure it out. Well, they kind of have figured it out. They got the stars. They had to get them in place. Now that you got everybody in place, it takes continuity to build what works perfectly. It's hard to build continuity when this guy is down. When this guy is down. When this guy is out. When this person has to miss. It's hard. In order to build the continuity, you need everybody there. The best ability is availability. So to my guy, Matthew, and I appreciate you viewing in. Make sure you share, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to keep, I respond to you. Ain't no thing, right? The thing is, we just have to give it time. Brown fans can't tell me they don't got time. They don't got nothing but time. They done already lived through 40 or 50 years of ineptitude. You can't tell me you don't have time. If you had time to go through all that bullshit, you definitely got time to work through this good shit that's brewing. You telling me that you rushed and sat and enjoyed this nasty food for 40 years, and now over the last 5 or 6, 7 years, you done got some real good food, some fresh ingredients, fresh from the garden that you knew came from good soil, and you mad because they ain't cooking it fast enough? You got to make that make sense to me. And I ain't saying it specifically you because you just asking the question. You know what I'm saying? But wait, hold on, give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Man, I don't believe that, bruh. I don't believe the good stuff brewing in Tampa, right? Understand, when people speak on Baker Mayfield and they try to compare what Baker Mayfield is doing now with Tampa Bay versus what Deshaun is doing with the Browns, let's be very clear about the two different circumstances. Baker Mayfield went into a already built Super Bowl team. What people aren't saying is the elephant in the room. For you to be a number 1 overall draft pick And for you to end up in a situation where the team you got to already has a Super Bowl base, has been there, won it, been there multiple, bruh, you're underachieving still. But people don't want to highlight that because in all fairness, Matthew, there's a complexion divide when it comes to who should be the quarterback for the Browns. That's the elephant in the room that people try to ignore. People have a problem when the quarterback for the Browns doesn't look a certain way. So they don't have the patience, right? You could say, oh, Deshaun this, Deshaun that. But we just went over the stats, bro. Deshaun was 24 for 32. He was a victim of a lot of drops. He kept momentum going. You seen the fire in him. He was talking to the team, letting them know what he wanted them to do. I mean, bruh, like it's amazing how Browns fans ask for something, and then when they get it, they mad because it don't look like the way they want it to look. That's not how this works. We're not the people behind the scenes. We don't get to dictate that. We should encourage, though. We should be putting more positive things in the pot. Like, hey, I see you doing this, but if you do it this way, it might work better. Versus, oh, you doing that and that looks stupid. We don't know what you like, bro. You ain't even got their job. How you gonna say what they doing looks stupid? That's just, just the fan in me talking to the other fan in me, like, hey, to my counterpart, like, why would you look at it like that? Why not add to it, right? Because there's nothing wrong with the personnel, except for they don't know how to play together or they're young. You feel what I'm saying? Now, what we should be mad at Stefanski about is the amount of mental errors and mistakes. That's something that we can put solely on Stefanski's shoulders, right? Hey, your team is playing undisciplined. You are the head man of the team. You need to get them disciplined. In all fairness to Stefanski, though, there's nothing he can do about when they're making the mistakes, right? There's nothing he can do from the sideline about DeJuan Jones being a little bit intimidated by whoever on the other side of him. There's nothing he can do about that. That is an internal thing with DeJuan Jones. Who is he going to replace him with when DeJuan Jones is the replacement to begin with? Okay? Hey, what about Jed? We know Jed not healthy. It is amazing how a lot of Browns fans, it wouldn't have Imaginarium Unleashed. That record Tampa Bay had last year wouldn't have got them in the playoffs in our division. No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have at all. But, there's no, like I said, there's nothing he could do about that factor, right? There's nothing he could do about a phantom hold call that the ref calls on Nick Harris to take away an 80-yard touchdown play. There's nothing Stefanski can do about that. There's nothing Stefanski can do about Amari Cooper dropping a wide open pass that bounces off his chest into the arms of the defender that leads them to a scoring drive. There's nothing Stefanski can do about that, bro. He's on the sideline. What can he literally do about that from the sideline? That is on the player. We have to hold the player accountable for not doing their part when the rest of the team did their part. And that's all we have right now. Still went on the road to beat the Eagles, and he did it here versus Big Ben. And you said that to say what, though? You have to tell me the point that you're making when you say that, Matthew. Because all it sounds like is you miss Baker. There's nothing wrong with you missing Baker, but Baker had 4 or 5 years to do it here, and he proved nothing. Let's be very clear. Because if he proved something, he wouldn't end up having to get the Browns to beg somebody to take on his contract when he went to Carolina. I'm saying, the comments brought up his record, bro. The comment brought up his record. The comment said the record Tampa Bay had last year in the division when they got them in the playoffs. I'm responding to the comment. What are you talking about? Like, you're in the chat, though. So you see that. He won a playoff game here. He won a playoff game here. He did. But he also made a lot of piss poor errors and mistakes here, too. He also had a bad attitude. He was also a bad teammate as well. Those things matter when you're the quarterback. Being somebody that somebody want to be in the locker room with matters. Being that you want to come to work every day with somebody you feel like you can trust matters. And I've always said Baker as a talent is a very good quarterback. He just doesn't know how to read defenses. You know what I'm saying? And I figure if you're the number one overall pick, you should be able to read defenses. Baker is 7 years, almost going into his 8th year in the league, and he still cannot read defenses that well. He's getting better. He's definitely getting better. Following what stories? Why would I need to hold on? Can I even scroll down? You fried. Yeah, why would I follow that story? But back to the Browns, right? So, like I say, Stefanski, it's hard for me to fault Stefanski for a player's mishap in the middle of a play. There's nothing Stefanski can do if Deshaun Watson doesn't throw the ball to a wide open player. There's nothing he can do about that. There's nothing Deuce Staley can do about that. There's nothing Deuce Staley can do about Jerome Ford not hitting the proper hole in the middle of the play when you practice hitting the proper hole. There's nothing Ken Dorsey can do about the fullback missing a block in the hole that allows the running back to get stuff behind the line. There's nothing he can do about that, bro. He could take the fullback out and replace him, but who you going to replace him with? So I feel like Browns fans complain about a lot of things, but totally ignore the context that make those things even relevant to begin with. And when you get into the context of things, you start to understand more, and it's easier to solve the problem. The root problem is the Browns offense has no chemistry. They have no continuity. They haven't played together long enough for them to be able to understand what certain pieces have. But you're talking about Njoku, Chubb, Batonio, who've all played together the longest on this offense. So virtually means everybody else is new. Virtually. I mean, Deshaun on his 3rd year, but how many games he played? Wyatt Teller, his 4th, maybe his 5th year here, right? Wyatt Teller, he's been here quite a while, but Conklin is fairly new. He's been a couple years, right? Jed is newer, right? Pochich is newer, right? Jerome Ford is newer. The whole fucking receiving core is newer. So when you talk about these continuities, and even compared to what Baker got, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin been playing together for like 6 years. What are we talking about? Maybe even 7. That defense,
the link is in the chat.
the cornerstones of, huh?
I say the link is in the chat.
Oh man, you know they're not gonna do that, bro. But Matthew, you more than welcome to join. You know what I'm saying? But I don't, and I don't feel like I'm being attacked. Let me be very clear, Matthew. I have no problem with your comments and how you do it and what you're saying and what you're hitting on. I don't have no problem giving you no feedback. I'm just saying it's gotta make sense. You know what I'm saying? I follow Brown stories. I follow football stories. I follow Brown stories, right? We gotta talk about the things people don't talk about with the Browns. You know what I'm saying? Like the continuity problem. That's really what it is. But let's get back to the game, right? Because let's talk about how the defense didn't show up, which is the elephant in the room this season. Not so much as the offense being inconsistent and having drops. What about the defense allowing, in 4 games, they've allowed at least 7, 10+ yard scoring drives. So the Browns not even getting hit and burnt by big plays, which if you burnt by a big play, then that's correctable. Oh, you just missed this assignment in this moment. Okay, that's correctable. But when a team walking you down from inside they 10, and I said something about, the returners and the special team game giving me something. Let me give Bubba Ventrone credit. That special teams coverage game is gas. It's gas. These boys come down and hit. McGuire was hitting. They was hitting. Oh, they was hitting. Oh, shout out to Swartz for that. They hitting. Bubba Ventrone, shout out to you for that. They hitting. That dang on special teams is smacking. They laying stuff out. And I like it. Because they need it. Now, if we get the return game to match the intensity of the coverage game, we'd be going some places, all right? But back to this defense, right? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at InDaStreetzSportz or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streamings, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the InDaStreetzSportz channel. Like, subscribe, share, follow. Once you get in there, you will see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly, DeeTrynt. Make sure you do the same. Right now, we're doing a recap of Browns versus Raiders. You know, a couple little things mixed in, but we just going back over the game, summarizing and seeing what's going on. You know, at the beginning, I went over about the stats, and I started with the Raiders, but now we just kind of just going by piece, dissecting parts of the game and the Browns and, you know, what's going on with them or what I feel like is really the issue or what they should be most worried about, right? So the defense, as I was speaking on, you know, 7 plus, I think 7, 10 plus scoring drives in 4 games, at least, that I've recalled off the top of my head, at least 7. And, you know, like I say, big plays are correctable, right? But when you're getting walked down, okay, and for all my boxing fans, you know how this, when you getting walked down, this a whole different type of hold on what's going on. Now, in my opinion, the problem with Jim Schwartz right now isn't him being aggressive. It's the people he's choosing to play. Let me be very clear. I love Shelby Harris. He should not be starting. Quentin Jefferson should be starting next to Dalvin Tomlinson. That is one thing you need to correct. The second thing that I think you need to do is you need to stop starting Martin Emerson at the number 2 corner. And since Juan Thorhill is out, put his ass back there at free safety. Yes, that's what I said. Put Martin Emerson ass back there at free safety and let him ball hawk. Right? Because he can tackle. You don't really need him to tackle. You just need to be him in a way of catching some interceptions. He a big body. You know, he ain't the fastest, but he got a nice burst. He ain't the twitchiest, but he can break on the ball nicely. Use that. Okay? Let Carlton Mitchell play corner number 3. Because he's the shiftiest guy you got right now in that room. And the guys behind him are more like tweeners. They can tackle and cover a little bit. So, to me, you know, and I like Ronnie Hickman. I think Rodney Hickman doing what he can for what the scenarios and situations he's in. He's making the most of his opportunities. I just think he would just fit better rotating. You know what I'm saying? Him and Emerson can swap this little thing out because Emerson is getting abused this year. He been getting abused all year. And people don't want to talk about it, but this is really what's going on, bro. Emerson been getting abused all year. Neighbors exposed him. He just got exposed in this game by Trey Tucker and DJ. They've been abusing him. And you know why they abusing him? Because teams study tape. And Martin Emerson is physical. And as long as he could be physical with you, he can take advantage of the coverage. But that depends on your skill set as a receiver. When you try to put him on a guy with some twitch and some agility and some out of, you know, burst out of the blue, you know, on the dime burst, he has problems. When you get with a guy who's really athletic, who can really get up there and get it, who really can get physical with him, he has problems. And this has been a repeated pattern in 4 games straight. He has problems. So why keep putting him out there in that position? Now you just putting him in a position to fail. You need to start Newsome. You need to start Ward. And this should let everybody know that Newsome need to be getting some money. Because when Newsome get on these people, you don't hear about them no more for the rest of the game. You don't hear about them. 4 games straight. A receiver doing this thing on Emerson, you put Newsome over there, and all that shit gets cut the fuck out. I'm just saying, right? But what's so crazy about this game is the receivers, the coverage game wasn't even that bad, right? Gardner Minshew threw for 132 total yards. That is a great day by any coverage secondary. That is a great day. Phenomenal day. They held him to 24 total attempts. He only completed 14 of those, and he still didn't get 150 yards passing. That is a great day by any secondary. By any NFL standards, that's a great day. That's a great outing. Y'all did your job per the numbers, right? But it's a whole defense. And y'all allowed 152 yards on the ground from a team that can't run the ball. And you know why? But you got Shelby Harris out there with them young guns. Bro, you don't have a linebacking core like that. Why are you not playing Zadarius at outside linebacker sometime so you could put 4 defensive linemen down there and you could soak up the run? So that way, on some of these formations, you could literally have Hicks in the middle or Bush in the middle. You could just move Zadarius back to the linebacker. You could put Quentin Jefferson on the end because he's fast enough. Or you could put Wright down there. Or you could put a defensive tackle down there. You go with 3 defensive tackles and Myles Garrett, and you could stop the run that way. Because all they going to do is push the line back and soak up the meat. And now you got Zadarius roaming free for tackles. You got JOK roaming free for tackles. Utilize your team, bro. What are you doing? Y'all getting on this Joe Woods shit where y'all so stuck on what y'all want to do. Y'all don't want to do what's going to work. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. Okay, you got him down there for a reason. You got Hurst down there. I don't know if Ika was active last game, but you got some bodies down there, bro. Use the bodies. You got a lot of defensive ends. Why is Myles Garrett still in one spot? You didn't do this last year. You moved these guys around. So move them the fuck around. Because the defense is getting fucking destroyed this year, man. These guys were on their own. But Warkas put the Raiders inside the 5-yard line. 3 of his 5 punts. 3 of his 5 punts put the Raiders in and inside the 5. And each one of these drives ended up for a score. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. But everybody talking about the offense. Why is the defense getting murdered like that? The Browns scored 10 straight. Then the defense allowed a 12-play drive? What the fuck? They scored a touchdown. The Browns get the ball back, right? And the offensive line can't block now. Deshaun screaming at him. Bro, get the block. These is the one play, okay? It was one particular play where it's Zenter and DeJuan Jones, okay? Let me tell you why Deshaun cussed DeJuan Jones out. For those who don't understand why he cussed him out, okay? DeJuan Jones is 6'9". Zach Zenter is 6'6", which means when y'all stretch out, bruh, the 2 of y'all can cut off one whole side if y'all stretch out. Y'all can give Deshaun, at least, even if you send 3 or 4 blockers, Y'all are so massive that just spreading out in a proper technique gives you a chance. Because both of y'all could take at least one guy and push him to the ground to give you a chance to focus on one guy individually, which gives Deshaun at least another second and a half to throw the ball. On this particular play, it was only 3 people rushing on that side. All DeJuan Jones had to do was kick all the way out and extend. That way, Zinter can step out and extend, which would let the center know, since nobody's over him, that he needs to move towards his right. At the same token, too, though, Nick Harris should have got cussed out, too, because you've been a center in this league for multiple years. So when you come to the line, you should have been pointing out, as your job as a center, you should have been pointing out assignments. Ask Jeff Saturday. You should have been pointing out assignments. So this is a knock on you too. Even though you're not the starter, you got the win, bro. You earning a paycheck, bro. You the center. You automatically lightweight the leader on the line because you the center. You the guy who control the height. This is what you're supposed to be on. But anyway, DeJuan doesn't scoot all the way out. He half-asses it. So the guy on the end is the one who gets the quarterback virtually free. Why is he free? If a guy is going to be free, he has to be free from the inside, not the outside. It's easier for a quarterback to dodge an inside guy than it is an outside guy, because the outside guy is closing the hole. An inside guy, Deshaun, could juke. He could use his momentum against him, especially if he sees him coming. Now, don't get me wrong. It's plays in the middle where you get belted. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, though, for that, the guy who gets loose should not be the guy on the outside. It should be a guy on the inside. If that's how that's going to work. And because it's a guy on the inside, it's going to give Deshaun an extra second. And even if that guy gets in there and throws his hands up to block the ball down, the pump fake works in Deshaun's favor and gives him an alleyway to shoot straight. Y'all ain't thinking. So anyway, DeJuan doesn't do it. Guy gets free, blows up the play. Now the Browns got to punt the ball. I'm mad that DeJuan was sitting on the sideline looking like a lost child. Bruh, you 6'9". Bruh, you 6'9". Bruh, you 6'9". Play like you 6'9", bro. That's all I'm saying. Play like you 6'9". Play like Thanos. What is wrong? Zinter want to play, bro. He want to play with you. Y'all could be a nice tandem on that right side for years. You too. With Weipler coming back in that middle, like the Browns could really be forming something. But, bro, you got to play. Play to your size. Play to your strength, bro. Deshaun was supposed to cut your ass out. Because it wasn't no fucking way that guy was supposed to got loose on that play. No way. But he did. All right. We go into halftime time. Right? The second half was just more of line failures. Deshaun making plays. Jerry Jeudy dropped a couple passes. Then he got on his game. Elijah Moore just couldn't get open. And it wasn't that Elijah Moore couldn't get open. The line just didn't give. And let me correct that. My fault, Elijah. It wasn't that you couldn't get open, bro. It was the fact that the line didn't give Deshaun enough time to get to your part of the progression read. Now, we can argue. One could make a valid point that Deshaun's pre-line, pre-snap checks could be better. I'm totally in agreement with that. But it's not like he did a piss poor job. He did a more than above average job. He did a good job. I wouldn't call it a great job, but he did close to it. The line was just blowing shit. They just kept blowing shit. And then the Browns driving, and Amari Cooper pissed me off so bad. He just, oh, oh. And to me, that with Dustin Hopkins missing the extra point. So through all the stuff that we talked about in the first half, the Browns still had a chance to win the game. And I think people are missing this out of all these games. With the exception of the blowout game and the Cowboys, the Browns have had a chance to win every game. They've had a chance to win every game. Every game. It's not like they're getting manhandled. It's not like they're not making an impact. They're not following through and they're not finishing their opponents off. But that type of figuring out comes with continuity, right? Remember, the coach is young, the GM is young, the team is young. Everything is young. Everything is a growing pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta give it time and let it work. I have no gripes about the progression of the team because I'm seeing a lot of positives. Deshaun went 14 of 15 in the first half. His first 2 drives should have been touchdown drives if it wasn't for other facets. He did his job. Jerome Ford did what he could. I said he would probably be the leading receiving getter. He had 7 receptions. I said he'd get around 60 to 70 yards on 10 carries. He got 58 yards on 10 carries. It's close. There's nothing wrong with Jerome Ford. Right? He's doing what he can. But that line, that offensive line is horrible. This reminds me of early year Browns where we could never keep an offensive line. Like, bro, we got to get it together on that line. Now, if Andrew Berry gonna make any type of trades, you need to trade for some fucking linemen. Because these offensive linemen are getting fucking destroyed. And it's infuriating. At the least, it's infuriating to see this line get destroyed with so much. Hudson! Oh my God. Hudson. What is wrong with you, bro? My God, this is like your 5th year here. You was with Callahan. He made you his special project. Why are you so shitty? Why? Why don't y'all communicate with each other on that line? Joe Batonio, this on you. Why don't y'all talk on that line? Why y'all don't communicate? Why y'all don't point out who y'all assignments is? What is going on? What is going on? I don't want to hear this we paid Deshaun 200 something million. He should overcome this. That's bullshit. This is a team sport. Do your fucking job. If your fucking job is to fucking block. If your job is to tackle oh my God. Do you know how many missed tackles? I counted 25 missed tackles from the Browns yesterday. 25 missed tackles. I could be exaggerating. It could have been 18. But it felt closer to 30. They were just missing tackles and missing tackles and missing tackles and missing tackles. I seen at least 4 plays go from potential -1s to first downs. It was amazing the way the defense just fell in. If Miles isn't healthy, stop playing him. Stop using him as a crutch and figure out how to get the most out of everybody else on your defense. They just had me so infuriated yesterday because everybody talked about how Deshaun wasn't doing shit, and he played legendary yesterday, damn near. And the only reason it don't seem like that is because everybody was fucking up. Deshaun Watson could have went for 95% completion percentage yesterday if the rest of the offense would have played with him. He could have threw for 3 or 4 touchdowns yesterday had the rest of the offense played with him. We could have still won the game on a walk-off touchdown if the offensive line just picks up hat for a hat. How hard is it understand put a hat on a hat? It's only 11 guys. Why you can't put a hat on a hat? Let's just start with the fundamentals. Put a hat on you know what? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at Industry Sports or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live streamings, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the Industry Sports channel, like, subscribe, share, follow. Once you get in there, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with DeeTrynt. Do the same with that as well. Make sure y'all check out the website, InDaStreetzSportz.com. You catch the latest articles and things like that. If you want something spotlighted, you want to come up here and chop it. You want to get on a segment and co-host with me, and let's have our debate. I bring my stats. I got a stat book. Don't get me wrong, y'all. I got a stat book. We just chopping it right now, so I don't be tripping. But I got a stat book. I keep my stats, so we can go. We can go fact for fact and argue our points. However y'all want to do it, man. You can talk about your favorite team. I can talk about my favorite team. We talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. Feel free to come up here. Feel free to hit us up, InDaStreetzSportz@gmail.com, or email us at DeeTrynt@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Listen, we love these Browns. I think, they'll get it together. They're 1-3 right now. I would not be surprised if they went on a 3-game, 4-game winning streak and got it together. I think this loss really highlighted some things for everybody, and it let the team know that everybody shit stink. So I fully expect, and I'm not a guy with a lot of expectations, I fully expect Barry, Stefanski, and crew to right this ship, Schwartz and crew to figure it out, and play the ball game. Don't overthink this, gentlemen. Please don't overthink this. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back to talk with y'all later on, man. One love. I'm out.